Hi class, today we're looking at Chapter 1, Lesson 6, Ordered Pairs and Relations. Our essential question is, how do you use ordered pairs to locate points and use graphs to represent a relation? In mathematics, a coordinate system or a coordinate plane is used to locate points. The coordinate plane is formed by the intersection of two number lines that meet at right angles at their 0 points. So in this case, we notice that we have the y-axis, which is our vertical axis. Then we also have our x-axis, which is the horizontal axis. And then, of course, we have over here where it says the O, that is known as the origin. And the origin is the center of our graph. It's at 0, 0. That is the point that's graphed. So then we would start there. Now, an ordered pair of numbers is used to locate any point on a coordinate plane. The first number is called the x-coordinate. And the second number is called the y-coordinate. So each one is based on the x or the y-axis. And when you go to graph, the 4 in this case is the x-coordinate, and it corresponds to the x-axis. And the 5 is the y-coordinate, and it corresponds to the number on the y-axis. So in this case, if I had to graph this point, it would be based off how I have the x and the y. So if I know that my number 4 is on the x-axis, I'm going to start at the origin, and I'm going to move over to the right 4, and then from there, I'm going to move up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the y-axis. So I go to the right 4 first, and I go up 5, and I plot my point. So you do need the ordered pair in order to create that single point, but you have to make sure you go through the x-axis, then to the y. Go ahead and turn your notes over to the backside now. Now, when graphing an ordered pair, step number 1, start at the origin. Step number 2, move the amount of places the x-coordinate states along the x-axis. Then in step 3, from the x-coordinate, move the amount of places the y-coordinate states on the y-axis. So here's some practice. I have, for number 1, Q is 4, 2. So I start at the origin, and I move to the right 4, and I go up 2. And the reason for that is because the 4 is the x-coordinate, and then the 2 is the y-coordinate. So I have to make sure I count along the x-axis to 4, and then I count up from that 4 to a 2, and then I can plot my point. And that's where Q ends up being. Then we have, for number 2, V, 3, 7. So I'm going to go to the right 3, and I go up 7. Then I plot my point there. And that's V. Then for number 3, it says T is going to be 0, 3. So now this one's a little bit trickier because it says the X is 0. So that means I actually don't move from the origin at all. I stay at the origin, and I just move up 3 because that's where the Y is. So right there would be T. Now, for number 4, it says 8, 6. So I'm going to start at the origin, go to the right 8, and I go up 6, and I plot my point. Then for number 5, I have 5, 0. So in this case, I start at the origin, go to the right 5, but this time I don't move up because it says the y is 0, so I do not move from that area. I just stay at the number 5. And finally, on my last question, we have 4, 4. So I go to the right 4, I go up 4, and I plot my point, and then that ends up being letter L. So make sure when you're going to plot your ordered pairs that you actually start with the X, then you go to the Y. Now, when writing an ordered pair that names a point, step number 1, start at the origin. Step number 2, move right or left on the X-axis to find the X-coordinate. Then in step 3, move up or down from the X-coordinate to find the Y-coordinate on the Y-axis. So for example, when we are writing the ordered pairs for number 7, we're going to look for letter J. So letter J is right down here. Here's J. And I know that I'm going to move to the right 4 because I started at the origin, and then I'm going to go up 1. So that means the X coordinate is 4, and then the Y coordinate is 1 because I only had to count up once. Now, in question number 8, I'm looking for X. Well, here's X. In this case, I start at the origin, but I don't move left or right because I'm just looking above. So that means that the X coordinate is actually 0 because I do not move left or right. But I do go up, and I go to the number 7. So my Y coordinate is 7. So my ordered pair is 0, 7. Now go ahead and take a few minutes and complete questions 9 through 14 on your own. Don't forget to find the X, then the Y. Now with relations. A set of ordered pairs such as 2, 3, 3, 5, 4, 1 is a relation. A relation can also be shown in a table, so don't forget we can use a data table as well. Now, in a relation, there are 2 things we need to know. The domain of the relation is the set of X coordinates. And then we also have something called the range. The range of the relation is the set of all Y coordinates. So domain is for the X, the range is for the Y. Now express each relation as a table and as a graph. Then determine the domain and the range. So in this case, we know that each ordered pair is X, then Y. So X are all the numbers that are going to go into the data table first. And we are going to write in 3, 1, 5, 2. Then for Y, we have 5, 3, 1, and 4. So those are our Y's. Now, once we have put those into our data table, we are now going to graph them. So they're going to be graphed as 3, 5. So we're going to go to the right 3, we go up 5, plot our point. Then we have 1, 3, go to the right 1, go up 3. Then 5, 1, go to the right 5, go up 1. And then finally go to the right 2, go up 4. Now, we know that the domain are going to be all our values that are the X values. So our domain are going to be these values here, 3, 1, 5, and 2. Those are our domain. And then our range are all the Y values. So then we have 5, 3, 1, and 4. Those are our range. Now take a couple minutes to complete the reteach worksheet on lesson 1.7 on reading the graphs. So make sure you do the 1.7 reteach worksheet. And there's only 2 problems.